At this time, everybody's expecting an increase to Social Security benefits. It doesn't matter if you're on SSI, SSDI, you are expecting an increase to your monthly check. Now, what if I told you that your Social Security benefits will increase because lawmakers know that you need more money? They know that. This is not due to a cost of living adjustment for 2024, which we are expected to know the exact number, the percentage for the cost of living adjustment in about 3 weeks. It is not because President Biden wants to step forward and do what he promised and provide that $200 per month increase to all Social Security recipients. It's actually an increase to your benefits. Okay, this is an actual increase. Now, let me just ask you this, and do me a favor. Hit the like button if your answer is yes. Would you be excited if you were going to get an increase to your benefits and it wasn't because of a cost of living adjustment or because President Biden promised? It's because of a different reason. If you think that would be incredible and you absolutely would love that, go ahead and hit that like button. But let me explain why your excitement may be a little bit premature. I will do that in just a moment, but again, thank you guys for watching, and do me a favor, if you enjoy these daily updates, make sure you go ahead and hit that like button, but also click that subscribe button so you never miss an update. But let's get right down to it. Here's what we know. According to more reports that were just recently released, the Biden administration is working and has been working to get the Social Security Administration some more funding. And what they are telling us is that the Social Security Administration needs this additional funding to ensure that the Social Security Trust Fund doesn't become insolvent. But how would they do that? Then they go on to tell us, and I quote, that the Social Security Administration needs additional funding in order to process your claims faster and ensure you get your money in a timely fashion. That is what they're telling us. This is from the Biden administration, that they need to provide the Social Security Administration, the SSA, additional funding in this government funding bill. Okay, again, this is the bill that we need to pass before October 1st, which is this Sunday. If it doesn't pass, the government would shut down. Don't worry, your checks are safe though. So they're telling us we need to make sure that the Social Security Administration gets more funding than they received last year, more funding than they received 2 years ago and 3 years ago and 4 years ago, and so on and so forth. But the reason they're telling us this is because they say we would get our money faster. However, this is where things get very interesting. New reports and recent circumstances, recent events by the Social Security Administration is indicating that there is a completely different reason why they are looking to increase funding to the Social Security Administration. And it would not be so that you can get more benefits. It would actually cause you to lose some of the benefits that you do currently have. And I want to address this. According to a recent report, the Social Security Administration is looking to bring on new staff to help find the lost money. Okay? Now, a few examples. They could use that staff to find money that has been given away to people that never qualified for it in the first place, which is not as common. They could go after overpayments that were not yet collected, so the new people that are coming on would go after those that have been sent letters but yet never followed through, never made a payment, and the Social Security Administration isn't actually taking from their check. Or something that's happening now, and this is something that I've talked about multiple times over the past few weeks, is monthly payments made to SSI recipients who are actually over the asset limit. That is something that's going on right now. Okay, and I want to read you a few things. Okay, because right now the asset limit for somebody on Social Security or SSI, okay, supplemental income, the asset limit is $2,000 for an individual. It's $3,000 for a couple. Now, there's current provisions, legislation that has been brought forward in the House, especially that they want to change this law to ensure that all SSI recipients, instead of a $2,000 asset limit for an individual, it goes to $10,000. Instead of $3,000 for couples, it goes to $20,000. It doubles. Now, I have talked to many people over the years. One of the things that was always interesting to me is why certain people, as they get older, they decide not to, and again, that are somewhat disabled, right, very low income, why they don't get married or remarried. And one of the main reasons why, and I heard this for many years, and really understood it in the past probably 5 years, is they didn't want to get married because they couldn't have as much money. That just blew my mind. Like, what? You couldn't have as much money because you're married? That made absolutely no sense until it did. Until you think about, and this is one of the rules, okay, I'll show you this right here. This rule is dating back to 1984. Now, that was a few years before I was born. So, for 40 years almost, it's been the exact same asset limit, $2,000 for an individual, $3,000 for a couple. That's why they want to increase it. Okay? Because what happens when we receive, well, not me, because I don't receive Social Security, but what happens when people that are on Social Security and get this benefit, what happens when they have a little bit of an increase? And now they have a little more money coming in, and guess what? Now they're over the $2,000 asset limit. Well, guess what? As we give more money to the Social Security Administration and they hire more employees, and one of their tasks is to look for people that shouldn't qualify. Look for people that received an overpayment, which this would count. Look for people that have an asset limit or an asset that's higher. They have more than $2,000 in the bank account. They have more than $2,000 to their name. If they have more than $2,000, guess what happens? Their entire monthly check is gone, goes away. And if the Social Security Administration sends you a check on that month where you had, let's say, $2,200 in your account, and let's say you received $800 for that month, guess what? That $800 actually doesn't belong to you, and that would be an overpayment. So you would have to pay that back. That is what's happening. So right now, where we are talking about increases to the Social Security Administration, these increases could potentially come back and bite us because they may come after our checks. And I want to show you this. I want to show you this article that somebody sent me a few hours ago. I thought this was interesting because I've actually heard stories like this, but I never knew if they were really true. Now, more of these stories are popping up. Look at this. It says an Arlington man told by Social Security Administration to pay back money paid to his mother in 1978. 1978. What was that, 45 years ago? And he is now being told he needs to pay this money back? Let me read you this article. Look at this. It says, the 62-year-old retiree thought the letter must have been based on some sort of misunderstanding. So he went to the office in person to appeal it and was denied. It says the SSA is asking Jimmy Bird to pay them more than $1,400 that was paid 45 years ago to his mother, who died back in 2011. He could not believe his eyes when he opened the letter from the SSA last month. It says, I read the paperwork and it was from January to June of 1978. He said, back in 1978, I was only 17 years old. Bird's father died when he was 4 years old, so his mother received Social Security for him while he was a minor. He says, this is not money I ever saw. I was not even living at home at the time. It's why Bird was shocked when the letter demanded he repay the amount in 30 days or the SSA will cover the overpayment by withholding his full benefits starting on November 15th. Now, I want to be very clear on this. If you receive a letter from, and again, if you receive anything from the Social Security Administration, keep it. Okay, document that. Do not throw it away. Do not shred it. Do not burn it. Keep it. All right? If you receive a letter from the Social Security Administration, it says you made, you received some overpayments. We need that money back. If you do not respond, that does not mean the Social Security Administration leaves everything as it is. What they will actually do is 30 days after that letter was received, I believe, then they will just take the entire amount from your check. If your monthly check doesn't cover that, okay, and again, it doesn't matter if it's SSI, DI, it doesn't matter where the payment or the purpose of the payment, how you're receiving it, okay, how you claimed it. What matters is they need their money back. That's it. So if you owe them money and you do not respond to the letter that was sent, they will take everything back. And again, if your monthly payment doesn't cover the amount that you owe back, they will take 100% of that. The next month, if they need to take another 100%, they will do it. So you would not receive a check. What you can do, and this is something that I believe he talks about in this article as well. Yes, it is. Look at this. What you can do is you can agree to payments. This is what I've spoken to multiple people over the past couple of weeks. One person even said they have to make a payment, and they're making, I believe, 12 payments. It's going to be 12 payments. It's for a full year, and I believe it was like $200 or $300 a month that they had to pay back. Again, that's a decent amount of money, but look at this. It says Bird signed an agreement to have $100 a month deducted from his $1,800 Social Security check for the next 14 months. He said, that's groceries. Something is wrong with the system. And it is. The system is broken. But that is one of the reasons why lawmakers are trying to do whatever they can to ensure that they change the system. They make sure that the people within the system are going to actually benefit from it, which means we are going to see some changes. However, those changes may be few and far between, and they might not happen very soon. One thing I can tell you, and this is frustrating for a lot of people, is why aren't more lawmakers really pushing to see something done? Why are we waiting years for additional benefits? This is an increase that you may absolutely want, absolutely need, but at the same time, if they're not pushing for it, when are you ever going to receive it? Well, this is why we have heard a lot more reports. This is why we're listening to interviews from certain lawmakers. And they're saying that nothing's going to happen in 2023. They're discussing possibilities, potential new legislation that could come very soon. But the problem is in 2024, and about a year away, I think we're 13 and a half months away from a presidential election in 2024. That's going to be big because, President Biden's going to be a year older. Former President Donald Trump, another year older. They're getting older. There's more candidates coming in. But at the same time, it's not just the president. It's also the House and the Senate. Both of those are very close. Okay? The House of Representatives, which is the majority is Republican. Keep in mind, they only hold a very narrow margin. In the Senate, they hold a 2-vote margin, 51 to 49. So keep in mind that the next year is an election year. Getting something as controversial as Social Security reform or whatever, getting it done in an election year is going to be extremely difficult. So be prepared. Nothing may happen, or we could see some bipartisan legislation that everybody absolutely loves. But in my opinion, I don't see that happening in 2023. I don't see it happening in 2024. The expectation is they all put the legislation out there, they negotiate, they discuss it, and then sometime in 2025, potentially under a new president and under new leadership in the House of Representatives and in the Senate, we might finally see something get done. So that's what we know at this time. As always, thank you guys for watching. Make sure you do me a favor, click that like button if you do enjoy these daily updates. Also, click that subscribe button so you never miss an update, and I'll see you guys on the next one.